Welcome to Middle East In-Depth. The editorial in the Daily Star raises concerns, stating that Libya is a new terror hub. The commentary states that Libya has appeared to be going the way of a failed state for some time now. Unfortunately, the US and much of the West appears to have been a bit slow to catch on. The article states that this reveals the international community has learnt nothing whatsoever from Syria and Iraq. As with the US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003, Western military support for the ousting of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi in 2011 was motivated by self-interest. And just with the Iraq invasion, it was done with little concern for prolonged stability in the country or the creation of strong institutions. The author argues when other regions of the world are working together to create larger blocs to increase trade and cooperation, such as Europe, Southeast Asia and South America, much of the Middle East seems to be breaking up into tiny pieces, with different religious or tribal groups vying for their own mini-states in Syria, Iraq, Yemen and now Libya. The commentary concludes that it is clear that Western policy or lack of policy in the region is failing, and it appears Libya is yet the latest to suffer accordingly. Jan Fritsche takes a different stance in the Deutsche Welle, however, and states that Washington is displeased with the air strikes it says the United Arab Emirates and Egypt conducted on Islamist militias in Libya, claiming they were kept in the dark. The paper reports that the lack of notification amounts to diplomatic embarrassment for the United States, since the UAE and Egypt are considered to be American allies. Washington is a significant provider of military aid to Egypt and is regularly involved in arms sales to the UAE. The article quotes former ambassador to the UAE, David Mack, who has called for a political dialogue among the major rival factions in Libya, saying they have to establish their identity as a nation, something that they hadn't been able to do during the period when they were just kind of a personal chiefdom of Muammar Gaddafi. The report also references Libya expert William Lawrence, who has commented, Libya needs to be stabilized and hasn't been able to do so on its own. He added, Washington would prefer to have its international partners take the lead in the effort, since the US currently suffers from a lack of trust by some of the key players in the region. Guardian economist Jane Kinnon takes a more long-term approach, predicting Libya could be just the beginning for a newly proactive Gulf. The journalist observes that whatever has happened in Libya in the past few days, it is clear that America's traditional allies in the region are looking for new ways to protect themselves against a spectrum of threats that they think the US is not taking seriously enough. Jane Kinnon predicts in the future there will be greater military cooperation between the well-financed and well-equipped Gulf militaries and the armies of the poorer and more populous Arab states, especially Egypt and Jordan. Even as the US becomes less dependent on Gulf oil, these two Arab states are becoming more dependent on Gulf financial assistance. She takes the viewpoint that the Gulf countries want to reduce their dependence on the US for security and states, in 2013, the then head of Saudi intelligence said his country would be forging security relationships with other Muslim countries in a bid to diversify its alliances. Gulf military spending has been soaring. Saudi Arabia now has the fourth largest defense budget in the world after the US, China and Russia. The article concludes that the Gulf states want to maintain their alliances with the US and will continue to support critical US interests, such as the free flow of oil and support for a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, on issues such as supporting democracy, they will probably judge that the US simply does not care much, which will lead them to take a more assertive position on issues in what they see as their own backyard. For more updates, please visit levant.tv and subscribe to MidEast In-Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.